Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, Paul Goldschmidt's coming back to the Yankees. Sources say he will sign a one-year deal to return to the Bombers for the 2026 season, and it's somewhat of not a really shocking move, but a little surprising. I mean, we did hear a couple weeks ago the Yankees were kicking the tires on Paul Goldschmidt, and if you heard the latest audio podcast episode here, mentioned Joel Sherman's reporting that Ahmad Rosario had been taking ground balls at first base down in the Yankees complex there, so it didn't really make sense to sign Goldschmidt if you kind of have Rosario possibly penciled to do the same thing. But then the Yankees were signing him anyway, and then making things a little bit interesting because also early in the day we heard a report from John Heyman, Jason Dominguez, and especially now with this move coming down with one less roster spot, could very well start the year in AAA. And now the fact that you have Goldschmidt and Rosario both on the roster there makes less room for others. The likelihood that Dominguez starts AAA. To start the season there. So we'll kind of get into the whole thing, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. You never know when breaking news could come in there, and you want to get my take right away. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, the podcast, subscribe, and there's also the YouTube version of the show, Section 420 Talkin Yankees. Search it, subscribe it, crush the channel like button, whatever you call that damn thing. Anyway, getting back to Paul Goldschmidt. Had a decent season for the Yankees. Last year was 1 year, $12 million, and I think the Yankees got good value from him, but I just didn't think there was really any reason to bring him back. Again, especially you have Rosario, if you're paying like $2 or $3 million to more or less do the same thing. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt more in here would probably get a couple of starts, but more or less going to probably be in there, against lefties and maybe come in late inning defense, in a game that Ben Rice starts. So, you're going to do that sort of guy, 38 years old, going to be 39 by the end of next season there. I just didn't think it was super necessary. Again, he had a decent season for the Yankees, but I don't think it was like really great where you think, well, we got to bring him back. I mean, he got off to a great start for the season. I mean, he was hitting like 380, just out of this world, both him and Judge, but he did come back to earth, and really the second half, he was just kind of quiet, and he was also dealing with a number of knee injuries there that slowed him down a little bit. Now, he never went on the IL, and interesting enough, I mean, you know this, he actually hasn't been on the injury list since the 2015 season. So, yeah, overall, he is durable. He has been durable. But, I just didn't think there would be reasons to bring him back to take a roster spot. Just especially, again, you have a lot of decisions to make with position players, pitching. Are you going to start the year with a 6-man rotation, a 4-man rotation until you work out this whole thing until Rendon and Cole back there? So, I didn't think it was the most necessary move in the world. I don't hate it, but nevertheless, it did happen. So, at least we got to talk about it. So, last season, he hits 274. Which, was an improvement from his year before that, where he got off to a really bad start with the Cardinals. Did improve in the second half there, but his power really dropped off. Only 10 home runs, 45 RBIs. Did have 134 hits. So, again, he wasn't a bum. He wasn't terrible. I just didn't think it was super necessary to bring him back, but they are going to bring him back. So, at least the Yankees have that weapon. Again, mostly he's probably going to start against, left-handed starters, and you'll probably see him some late-inning defense. I guess the Yankees fully don't feel 100% confident in Ben Rice there, in games in the 8th or 9th inning, kind of picking balls out of dirt there. You're going to get good defense from Paul Goldschmidt, even if he's obviously on the far end of the age of 35. Again, right now he's 38. He will be 39 next year in September. You don't worry about that too much, but ironically, with that in mind, he will also be joining Team USA for the 2026 tournament. This will actually be his third time through there, so he's the first player to actually do that. Understandably, how much did Judge have an influence on them? I mean, we heard about the relationship that both Goldschmidt and Judge have. Again, the two of them seemingly worked out a lot during the offseason previously in there, and maybe just, as he was ramping up, maybe Judge put in a good word for him. Who knows? But, I guess the Yankees might want to keep the captain happy. I don't know if it's the only reason, but it is out there as a possibility there. So, Paul Goldschmidt coming back. Last year he made $12 million. I don't know. The Yankees didn't pay another $12 million. I mean, they were probably expecting a little bit more offense for the $12 million they're paying. Maybe comes back at a 1-year, $10 million deal. Maybe they throw in some little nooks and crannies if he hits certain, games played and certain offensive numbers. Maybe kicks him, maybe one of those sort of rewarding contracts. And with that in mind, according to a reporting from John Heyman, there's a very good possibility that, Jason Dominguez might start the season in AAA. Now, this had to do with a couple of Cashman's comments. When he was asked about Dominguez last season, kind of during the second half when he was benched a lot, Cashman mentioned that, yes, he had the possibility of putting him in AAA to at least, last season to at least get him some more playing time versus sitting on the bench, but they opted to just keep him up here on the major league level, which they ultimately did. But to start next season there, because, Yankees kind of crowded there in the outfield. course, they got Trent Grisham in center. They just signed Cody Bellinger for left field. Who knows if they want to take a look under the hood with Spencer Jones. And, just the fact that, guys like Rosario could also play left field if need be. Does it serve Jason Dominguez, really well to only play, maybe start once a week and maybe a couple of pinch hits here and there and just maybe a pinch runner once in a while? Or does it benefit him to play AAA every day, just be an everyday player, get more at-bats, especially as he's trying to develop himself better from the right-handed side there? Does it make sense to him going AAA? So that seems to be the task at hand. Cashman also mentioned, as well as Boone, that it's a long time between now and the start of the season. There's spring training. Does someone get hurt? Does someone go down? Does Bellinger or Grisham or even Judge, God forbid, pull a hammy or tweak something, or especially Judge playing in the World Baseball Classic? So an opportunity could open up for Dominguez. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Or they just might figure, even if he gets limited at bats, we just rather have him here on the major league level. I don't know if that really stunts his growth or not, but remains to be seen. But I don't think anything's set in stone yet. And it's also worth noting, Stanton with his creaky elbows, we didn't really find out about that until the start of spring training last year, and even Aaron Boone was surprised by that. He didn't know about how bad those elbows were. Didn't know that Stanton was kind of dealing with that even during the amazing 2024 postseason run the Yankees had with, Stanton was just playing out of this world into the World Series. Unfortunately, the rest of the team wasn't hitting other than him. This issue seemingly could crop up again, and didn't look like he got any sort of surgery or procedures during the offseason to fix that. So he's probably dealing other sorts of treatment, but, he only played 77 games for the Yankees last season. We all know the deal with Stanton at some point, he's going to go down for a while. He might go down a couple of times there. So whether that's early in the season, middle of the season. So, I don't think that really necessarily writes the final goodbye for Jason Dominguez. And I saw a bunch of stuff on X today saying, the Yankees never gave him a fair shot. He's not getting the launching pad that Volpe's getting, and there's some truth to that. But let's just say, even if it's the case that he does start this upcoming season in AAA, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's a goner. He's still a young guy. I kind of been saying this a million times during the whole offseason. He's only 23 years old, and back in the day, again, guys didn't really come up to the majors until they're 26, and I don't think that he's going to be in AAA for another 3 years. But let's just say, even if he's in the AAA for the first half of the season, it's not a foregone conclusion he's going to be gone, or he's going to be traded. It's just, they might just want to park him down there for a while as a necessity. And then, again, after next year, you're not going to have Trent Grisham anymore in center field. That probably opens up things. Or maybe becomes part of a big trade package. Or maybe part of Spencer Jones becomes a trade package. You stick with Jason Dominguez. So, last year we thought, the Yankees rotation was going to be off the charts. Next thing you know, Cole shows up. He needs Tommy John surgery. And then eventually Clark Schmidt goes down. Marcus Stroman has a bad knee. And you're scrambling for a starter there. When you had a whole plethora of them, Luis Gil's not ready to start the season. And you go into guys like Ryan Yarbrough out of desperation who came through there. So the team you have on paper right now, early February, you wait a couple of weeks, wait March, maybe wait to early April. Things change. Guys get hurt. Things happen. I would rather not things happen because that means an injury. But nevertheless, again, I don't think it just means that, Dominguez is written off. And if he even starts the season in AAA, again, I don't think it's at the end of his Yankee career. Man, if they have to park him there for a while, it's out of necessity. So that's the episode. Paul Goldschmidt coming back to the Yankees for another run. I don't love it. I don't hate it. But, he was a solid. He was solid for the Yankees. So, again, it's not the worst thing in the world. But, again, that's one less roster spot. And, someone like a Jason Dominguez or maybe someone like a Will Warren at some point may pay for it. We'll see. Catch you next time.